ideal pairs to trade when you're doing hedge. You want the very swingy pairs. That would eliminate most of the majors except for USD JPY and GBP USD because those two pairs swing up and down a lot before they head in the direction of the general trend. So the pairs for hedging would be Euro GBP, GBP NZD, GBP JPY, NZD JPY, GBP CAD, Euro JPY. To a certain extent, you can also do, what was that? AUD JPY. Those would be very safe for you.
AUD JPY will move a lot at Aussie Open, right?
Yes, it would go up and down, especially if it is between the support 1 and resistance 1 level.
Yeah.
The moment that these pairs have gone beyond support 2 and resistance 2, don't do hedge. It will start heading into the trending direction.
M15H4, how's it called? The ADX on M15 and H4. Sorry, the Alligator and the ADX has to be below 10 on the M5, right? Or not?
Yes, you want your M5, your M15 ADX to be below 10. If we go over that, you might be heading to a trending market. So that's where you do your trending tactics.
Right.
What
and
else?
You want the colors to be opposite, plain maximum. And DX, you mentioned the colors. The problem that we have with the indicator that we have, yours would have like the bar could be half red or half green. What we can see is only green or red. We cannot see half bars.
96.71% profitable. Wow.
Yeah, I was talking
That's
with
crazy. That's quite crazy.
Yeah, as long as you follow the rules, you'll be there. So let's open this new chart. Let me put that on. This is the standard Alligator. So this is what you have. You do not trade when you see everything green, like this range where you see my crosshairs at. You trade when you see everything red or half green, half red. These are points of consolidation, and if you see my crosshair, it is coinciding with the point where the price is really going up and down and where the price bars are sandwiched between the 3 alligator lines. So that's the ideal signal for you to make the entry. When you reach this point, you can see there's a slight trend, but because it's all green, you do not trade the hedge at this point. You only trade where it is half green and half red. Using the indicator that I have, which is customized, this is what it looks like. The only time that we trade a trend is when it's all green. Everything else, but it also coincides with the standard Alligator, is a game for the hedging market. So right now at AUD CAD at M5, you can pretty much see that at this point here, it would have been perfect for a hedge. But at this point, it started to show green, so not a good signal. This technique would work at the break of the open again. The US Open, the London Open, and the Aussie Open. Do it within the first 30 minutes of the open and you just can't lose. You go to step 1, you go to the D1 chart. That's the daily chart. And you take a look at the most recent price bar. So this bar pertains to the entire day for today. You look at where the price line is, and you can see it's at the very bottom of the bar. That's already going to tell you what you're going to do. You're going to do a short and nothing but a short. You're not going to do a long. But before you do that, you confirm first at M1. See where you are. Oh, that's another good thing. You see that the bar is at the bottom of the M1 bar for the current moment in time. So you go back to D1. Already, you have your signal. You're going to go short. And it's going to be a very good thing for you. All you have to do is you open 2 or 3 lots or even 4 lots. You set it at 2 to 4 pips. In fact, 5 pips take profit. It's going to win immediately because as long as the price is at the bottom of the D1 bar and M1 is also saying the same thing, going back to M1, the direction is so strong towards that point, you don't even have to look at the trend. You don't have to look at the alligators. You don't have to look at the oscillators. It's going to TP within the next 2 to 3 minutes, your 4 pips. You can do that for every single pair. But here is the technique that I want to tell you. It works best on the pairs that are most aligned with that trading session. For US Open, for instance, you do this for Euro USD, everything that has the USD pair. For the London session, you trade everything that is related. First, you prioritize everything that is related to London. Euro, the British pound, the CHF, JPY. You trade, you put less importance on the Aussie market. For the Aussie session, you run this first on all of those that are related to the New Zealand and the Aussie pairs, as well as to a certain extent the JPY pairs. So clear so far?
So,
Clarifications?
so right
Concerns?
now the M1 is going. This is M5, right? Yeah, it's going up.
Yeah, we can ignore M5. We just look at M1. So
Yeah.
what we want to do is we wait for that retrace. And then when it goes back down, you open your position. But if you want to even make more profit, you wait until the high of this bar because it will still go down again. So if I were to draw a line here, okay, there you go. It's starting to go down. You actually can open a sell limit at that point because then it will start to go down again. If you were to confirm again at D1, you would see it's still at that point. But remember, we are already about an hour or almost an hour and a half after the US Open. So this won't be as feasible, but you can still see that it's still working. So come this Monday at 6 a.m. Singapore time, that's when the Aussie session opens. Look at all the pairs for Aussie, for JPY, for NZD. Take a look at where the price is on the D1. Is it at the top of the bar, at the bottom of the bar? If it's at the bottom, don't open a long, do a short. If it's at the top of the bar, do a long, and that should be good. So clarifications?
So suppose you have a hammer candlestick. You know, it's going. It's got a long tail. Okay, and the price is at the top.
The best signal is a full bar. If it
Full
were
bar,
a
right?
thin line for the D1, don't make the trade.
Okay, got it, got it.
Make it a fat full bar.
Okay, if you have a fat bar which is going up, and then we open a long position, right?
That will be a great thing. If the price line is in the middle of the bar, don't take a trade. That will invalidate the trade already. You want the price at the top of the bar or the bottom of the bar.
But the price will always be at the close of the previous bar when the new bar opens for today, right?
Yes, that's correct. At the start of the session, the price line would almost always be at the top or at the bottom of the bar, indicating the predisposition of that um, currency pair. That will be the general direction, at least for the open session. So you want to follow that general bias.
Too
Questions?
easy.
It is. It is so easy that you would wonder why has no one ever thought about that. You don't even need indicators.
That's a good thing. And
One
you
other
only
thing
trade
that
for half an hour, basically, right?
you
You
can
only
do
trade
that.
for
In
half.
fact, you can do it in 15 minutes. You're done.
Yeah.
Because 15 minutes for the Aussie session, 15 minutes for the London session, 15 minutes for the US session. Then you're done.
We should ask for the we should always wait for the retrace, right?
Yes, wait for the retrace, wait for the highest point, then open the position there. You don't have to open at the bottom because at the top you can keep on opening new positions as it goes back down.
About the PRC is that you should always trade in the direction of the ADX.
Yes, you should. And
Yes.
let me share my screen right now. We want to, ideally, we wait for the touch at this bar or this bar before opening a position. Right now, nothing is happening. It's really a ranging market. But assuming that M15 was telling us to go down, we want to do a multiple time frame analysis. The ADX at M15 and H1 should be showing the same general bias. If it were not, do not take the trade because then there can be a potential reversal, which would be catastrophic for you. So let's look at another pair. Usually the swingy pairs like GBP, NZD, those are the pairs that play very well with the PRC method. Okay, here we go. This one looks good. So this pair, this line is about to break the inner band. The moment it breaks 2 pips, 3 pips above this, that would already be a good signal to sell, but do not sell until you see a red bar here and your M15 had turned into red as well as your H1. But right now, H1 is already telling you that it's a good time to sell. So those are the confirmations that you are after.
So we would override the M15 with the H1 in this case. Would you enter over
Yes,
here or not?
that's right. Right now, I have so many ADXs here, but as I was telling Passos earlier, all you really have to confirm with is the upper time frame, the higher time frame by a factor of 4 to 6. So if you're looking at M15, you multiply that by 4 to 6 times and you take a confirmation from that bigger time frame. So 4 times 15 is H1. So if M15 and H1 are the same, telling you the same signal, that's your signal to do a sell in case this one already has hit this point and it starts to go down.
Can you show me this the PRC settings that you're using, like the distance between the bands?
Pretty much standard, 3 degree, and outer band deviation is 3. If you want more trades, you can change this to 2.5. It will capture more. However, you might have a few false signals. But if you're feeling risky, another thing that you can do if you want faster entries, you can change this 120 to 60. But I still prefer 120.
Yeah, I would rather have fewer quality signals than have more signals.
Right.
Because there's so many pairs to work with. More than
The
all of
other thing
signals.
I can show you is the ADX. Standard is 14-10-5 for ADX. 14 periods, and the smoothing is 10-5. But if you want to filter out really those entries which are false breakouts on your ADX. You can change it to 14, 50, 50. It will make the curve really smooth and it will change the deviation. So this is safer than 14, 10, 5.
Okay.
Standard for most indicators is 14, 10, 5.
So it would be harder for the ADX value to keep changing, right? If you increase the.
Yes. A very sure signal, like right now, okay, let's look at this. At M5, the signal is 47.1. That means it's trending strongly upwards. But if I change that to 14, 50, 50, look what would happen to that signal. It's actually telling you that the trend had started to weaken, and you can see that at this bar, the fat bar is starting to turn into a spiky line. So the trend push is not as strong as it actually looks like. So this can filter out the bad trades and bad entries.
So you can have different settings for each time frame.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
So other queries, Forex related or
So
Psionics related?
you had posted a Thanos forex method, right, on Patreon. Thanos the Thanos forex method, right? You had posted that.
Actually where most of the pivotal changes happens before a reversal.
Okay. Cool.
Do you mind if we go back to the method for a minute?
The method for
The D1 method.
the D.
We should look at the bar when it's at the bottom, when the indicator is at the
Yes,
bottom of the bar. But can you show us, like, I mean, we will have the video to see the video afterwards. But do you mind if you present that again for a minute?
sure. This is, remember we're already out of the session start, so this is not a good time. So
Yeah, it doesn't
but
matter.
assuming this were a good time and we are at GBP and ZD, we opened it and we see the price line at the top of the bar. Then
Right.
that's your sign, your signal that for the open, you do not make any short. You will only be making a long. So first you look here, okay, your bias is long, you'll do long. Then you open the M1, you check where you are. Ideally, you want to wait for a retrace downwards. So you wait for a green bar to go, I mean a red bar. So let me get my crosshair. You wait for it to go somewhere down here, perhaps, so that you can ride more pips going up. And then you open a buy limit down here. So, okay, sorry about that. Yeah. So that is one thing that you're going to do. Let's open another pair. Let's go to D1. Assuming it's a start, you see the price is at the bottom of the bar. That means your bias is to go short. And for the rest of the 30 minutes of the open, it will just be short. You go then to M1.
Right.
You wait at the top, the weight at the top of the green line because it's retracing, and then you open your short at the top. So you don't wait until the bottom here of this point because you want to write all those pips down. So keep on opening 3 pips, 3 pips TP, 3 pips TP at 4 to 3 lots.
Okay. All right.
You
okay.
can take, okay. Another thing is you can take confirmation from the ADX if you want to, but it's really not necessary as long as the open is already giving you that signal. It should be good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
Something about that you will tell us about certain modifications to the PRC.
Oh yes, we covered a little bit of that already. So um, you can change the PRC to 2.5 if you want more entries. Um, it's a little risky, but it can give you a lot more trades. You can change the ADX to 1450/50 on the settings over the 1410/5, which will make your trades a lot safer because it will prevent you from entering with false signals. So you can actually meld those two together if you want the best of both worlds. You change the PRC to 2.5 for the deviation, but then you increase the safety level of the ADX using 1450/50. So one is conservative, one is aggressive. That might give you a lot more trades. And I've experienced that already. I've tried it several times. It works really good during the opens as well, after you've done your. For long range bombing, you go to the H1 chart. Let me open again my template. This is a sure shot 50 pip move win. You open your alligator. Assuming that this point, you wait for that retrace, then it turns red. At H1 chart, you confirm that it's going down. And an H4 chart, if it's also going down, you can open a sell position after this green candle completes its position and set your TP at 50 pips. Essentially, it will ride all the way down until you hit TP of 50 pips. Make your stop loss trigger at 20 pips with a 3 to 5 pip tail. This is for long range positions. Well, right now I don't really do that much because I prefer the short, locking in of the periods. Right now we're in COVID, we're at the oil price crashing. So this is really good when the market is stable. But if you want to try it in demo, this is the perfect time frame and the perfect signal to wait for. H1 and H4.
It's between S1 and R1.
Yes, in between S1 and R1. You can actually stretch it. You can make it S2 and R2 because there tends to be a lot of bounces between those positions. Once you breach S2 and R2, that's unsafe for range trading.
So reasonable target, like with one or 2 hours of trading, you could make around 50 pips, right, per day. You should aim for that
Yes, you can aim for that. Correct.
in a couple of hours of actual watching the markets.
Right.
So
Come to
we
think of it,
basically have,
you
yeah,
won't even have to watch the markets. You won't have to watch the markets that much anymore if you just trade in the open of
yeah,
each major
yes,
open.
yes. Because in order to actually find the ADX confirmations, you have to continuously look at the markets and what is
Yes,
happening, right?
that's right.
So it's quite intensive.
Usually in the first 30 minutes of each open, there will be ranging. After the 30 minutes, for about 45 minutes, it will trend very strongly. Then 2 hours after the open, ranging again. So you have two opportunities to do range.
X sigils,
Yes,
should we keep them on us at all times? How long should we keep it near us?
you don't need to keep it on you. You can just put your photo on top of it. Feel that you're being overpowered by them because sometimes people get over congested. You put one of these around it. It will keep the flow locked in. I'm sure you know what this is. It's a
Qubit,
tensor,
And
yeah,
so,
qubit ring.
yes.
Uh,
We're doing ceremonial magic. I was doing rituals and stuff, you know, to manifest stuff, calling on entities and angels and demons. But this is more efficient way of manifesting, less work.
yes.
I read about them.
I guess many of you are also active in the radionics forums. A lot of things that you can pick up there. Um, Many of the examples that I'm providing there have radionic rates as well. So if you don't have access to the image, you can just put the rate numbers on your machine. Away it'll go. Same thing, same banana.
Yeah, but I'm using software. Like, for example, I'm using one of the Extreme Mind software on the Android. And you want to those rates, you can just write the rates on a piece of paper and just take a photo of the rates, right? A physical device.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
The
Okay.
if you're trying to douse for new rates, you're looking for the rates for a sickness that you might have. You use a pendulum for that.
I've pendulum. If I'm using a pendulum.
Perfect. So most folks have difficulty with the pendulum because they hold it stationary. But ideally, what you want to do is you give it a push. You've seen one of these, right?
Yeah.
Before you ask your question, you already push it back and forth. That's your neutral zone. That's your no zone as well. Then you ask the question. If it starts to turn into a circle, that's a positive. You use it the same way when you're trying to hunt for rates. So you hold it over the dial. You're focusing on your idea, and then you're turning the number. If it's moving back and forth, that's a negative. But then if it starts to go in a circle, that's what you want.
No, you gave me that tip on Telegram 2 days ago.
Yes.
Yeah, remember? Yeah.
Have no expectations and just swing it without expecting an answer. That's when it would be most clear, most perfect.
That takes practice, I imagine.
Yes, takes practice. Ideally, you flood your mind with a brick wall, for instance, or a white screen. That's when you would have the most impartial answer.
Right, yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. But the questions, like the answers I was getting were a lot quicker with that trick, like start with back and forth. It was a lot quicker. It was like the flow was there. I think it was very, very good. I think it was very, very good. It is very good.
Right. The mistake that most folks do with the pendulum is they just hold it stationary and hoping it'll move. It doesn't work that way because it has no initial momentum.
Yeah.
What is the best way to make internal changes, as in changes in your personality, behavior, or subconscious mind using psionics? As in,
using psionics. Well, the very first step is you really want it because often, especially for those people who are using psionics, they actually don't want the change. They're resistant. For instance, a fellow who wants to lose weight, and he's oversized and really big, loves his food. So if he's totally unwilling to make that change to give up, say, the junk food, he can write all the rates that he wants. He can download all the sigils that he wants. But if he's not willing to give up the food, it's not going to work. It's just like the guy who wants to win the lottery, he can run trends. But remember, you're fighting against the wishes of millions of people. It's not going to work either. You have to look at the probabilities. And if you're not even going to buy a lottery ticket, therefore, running that trend is not going to work because you're not even buying the lottery ticket in the first place. So that's the first thing. You have to want it, and you have to have the motivation to take the steps after you're on the trend to make that happen. Because psionics is really just probability engineering.
so, but you have so much energy at your disposal, so there must be a way to overpower your, inner blocks. Suppose I have a belief system that suppose it's an old belief system that I don't deserve money, for example, which is blocking all my money related magic or money related trends. So how do we get rid of that? Cleanse the subconscious of all blocks.
That's a very good question. First, the very first step is you have to flood yourself with the belief that you are deserving and you're worthy of it. Some of us, we don't ever get rich because of religious upbringing. We have this belief that money is evil, affluence is not something that I am deserving of, it has to be for other people. And because of that conditioning, you defeat yourself every step of the way. You start to succeed at business, for instance, you start to question whether you're even worthy of that business success. And that will destroy you because remember, every thought is a manifestation. So you have to convince yourself, you have to be fully aware that you are deserving of all the success that comes your way. And that's the very first step. Without that, Tony Robbins keeps on saying the same thing over and over in his lectures. You have to act as if. That's another NLP postulate if you studied NLP back in the
Yeah.
day.
Yes.
Act as if you are a winner. Act as if you're a charmer. Act as if you're already making big money. If you're not acting as if you're still cringing in a corner, feeling that you are a loser, nothing is going to change that situation in your life.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, fake it till you make it. If you fake it till you make it, then you're gonna be a big winner ultimately.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
And right now,
with
all of you are
forex,
gonna be winners
yeah,
at Forex
yeah, but with forex,
Yeah.
because
you
you're
don't need
taking
to
the
fake it.
steps. Yeah, you don't have to fake it. You're already proving it on demo. You're proving
You
it on
can see
live.
it happening.
Yes. I think all of you are going to be billionaires. You're going to be shaking your hands. Maybe 1 year from now, you've made it on Forex tax free. So you don't even have to fake it anymore, right?
Yeah, and the best part of forex is you just increase the lots,
Right.
and yeah, and you can just double everything. You can make
Increase
it
the lots,
10x.
decrease the take profit.
Yeah.
Because if you're increasing the lot size and you're increasing the take profit, you're going to start losing. You start doing 10 pip take profits,
No, no, no,
you might
never.
not reach it and you'll get wiped out.
Yeah.
Greed is the enemy in forex. You should never be greedy.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
I learned that the hard way.
You could do that using radionics, right?
Yes, you can do that too. You can douse
Yes.
for the appropriate rates for
Mm-hmm.
forex winnings by
These are day-to-day energy, and like how do we stay awake longer and be able to focus for longer with more energy using psionics or using something that like like be completely on it at all times.
will strongly endorse if you were to pulse that using psionics at you. One is 528 hertz. That's the frequency of creation and genesis. 33 hertz is another. That's the consciousness frequency. The beta frequency of 20 hertz that puts you in that heightened alert state. You can run that when you're doing your trading. You would be very focused. And finally, 7.83 hertz Schumann resonance that puts you also in the zone. I wouldn't recommend going to theta state or less because then you might not be as sharp as you want to, but that will be great for meditation and daydreaming. So once you have decided on your ideal frequency, you can pulse sigils at yourself or written statements of affirmation that's written on the present tense, not the future tense. Whenever you write a manifestation, it has to be written as though it already happened. Pulse it at you 24 hours a day. It should be reinforcing what you want. Another frequency I forgot to mention is 432 hertz. It's one of those that also help with the DNA regeneration. It's really strong. It's really good. There are a lot of folks who says that uh, corporations have replaced it with 440
Yes.
hertz. It
Yeah.
debilitates you. So reinforce your 432 hertz using your Psionics. If you don't have Psionics, even running a frequency generator app on your phone should help. I like using scalar coils. Let me show you a sample of one of those. Connected to the phone. Seen one of these?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Schumann resonance plate. If you connect that with orgone generators as well, you can flood your home with it, including your intents. So those things do help. You don't discuss the reduction method to create your power sigils. No.
Um,
Yeah, I've learned that through chaos magic.
chaos magic, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect. So
how to create
use that to
sigils.
create your sigil that is aligned with your goals, whether it's forex, family, or relationships. Then pulse that to yourself all day.
So you just mentioned that you can fill the room with certain kinds of energy.
Yeah.
So, for example, if I fill a room where the party is going on with lust energy, so people will start flirting with each other.
Yes, they can, especially if it is really strong, really empathic, and you are 100% emotionally invested in it. Yes.
Okay.
For that, I recommend the chakra frequency that's related to the root chakra. I think that's 256. They call it a Tower of Light spell, Tower of Light cleansing. You stand straight, close your eyes, you calm yourself down. Then you imagine that there is this glowing circle in front of you, uh, a tunnel of light going all the way to the sky. And then you say that to yourself, the moment I step into that, all the baggage, all the negative stuff is gone. Then you step into it. Then you feel that radiance is taking it all away. Then you step out. That should have cleared out all the gunk, and that will free up all the power that was normally locked down by all the negativity. So you can try that first. Often it's really because of your interaction with other people, your stress, work, that dampens, your mood and your vibrations.
Kundalini file, is it a paid MP3 or is it free? Kundalini
Yeah, yeah,
activator.
you have to buy it. You have to buy it from
Okay,
Spring Mind,
okay.
yeah. Yeah.
There are several free MP3s in the site as well that are similar to that, like DeepMind released in 2002. Um, I also have a Google Drive of other free that we've created. I can post it in Telegram, gigabytes
Yeah.
of the stuff. You guys would
Deep,
benefit
Deep
from them.
Mind is very, very good. Deep Mind is very, very good. Yeah, I first tried it like 12 years ago or something. It is very, very good.
Yeah, you probably felt yourself going high from the way the frequencies were playing with your head.
Yeah, 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 yeah.